So welcome to a short tutorial on how to request a prefix in the Bioregistry. The Bioregistry's database lives in a JSON file on its associated GitHub repository. This means that anybody can fork the repository, make an edit, and create a pull request to get their changes merged in. A pull request is a great opportunity to solicit feedback from potential stakeholders, the wider community, and ultimately the Bioregistry review team. However, we don't want to discourage users who aren't familiar with Git and GitHub, so I'm going to present a fully automated workflow that allows anybody to request a new prefix simply by filling out an issue template that then triggers the creation of a pull request with GitHub Actions. You'll first need to create a GitHub account, log in, and then navigate to the issue tracker for the Bioregistry. I'll put a link in the description of this video to take you straight there, and then we can get started. So here we are on the Bioregistry's issue tracker. You can see there are several issue templates to choose from. We're going to select Request New Prefix and then press the Get Started button. So in this demonstration, I'm going to add a prefix for grass space, a nomenclature for grass species. Now we have to choose a prefix. Prefixes should be lowercase and exclude punctuation. They also shouldn't be too general, like gene or COVID-19. Usually the prefix is an acronym for the resource you want to describe, or just a lowercase version of the title. So here we're going to choose grass space in lowercase. Next, we have to fill out the name of the resource. All acronyms should be written out in full here, but again, we're just going to write out grass space with its capitalization and stylization. Next, we need to give a homepage associated with the nomenclature authority. If your nomenclature authority is part of a website that issues several nomenclatures, try picking a page that's as specific as possible. Next, we need to give a description of the resource in a sentence or two of English prose. A good description says what kind of entities the resource makes identifiers for, why it exists, and who might want to use it. I've already written a small description for grass space that I'm going to copy-paste in here. Next, we need to give an example local unique identifier from the nomenclature authority. This should not include the prefix and should not be written using Gyori syntax. For an example for grass space, we're going to use the identifier for Zea maize, which is better known as corn. Next, we should give a regular expression pattern that describes the local unique identifiers in the nomenclature authority. Remember, this regular expression pattern should not include the prefix itself. For grass space, most identifiers start with either IMP or GEN and then are followed by 5 numbers. This can be written with the following regular expression. Note there is a hat and a $sign at the beginning and end of the regular expression to make sure that any extra stuff isn't matched. Finally, we should give a URI format string that can be used to construct a URI for a given local unique identifier. Note that there's a special character sequence, $1, that's a placeholder for the identifier. This is a slight generalization of the URI prefix that's typically found in semantic web usages, since some URIs can't be constructed just by post-pending the identifier. For grass space, the URI format string looks like this. To wrap up, we'll add the contributor information and any additional comments, and then submit the issue. After submitting the issue, it's now part of the issue tracker and assigned a number. You can see this issue has number 218. All of the fields we filled out in the last form will be written out here. And in a few moments, GitHub Actions will create a pull request for us. Now, I fast-forwarded a bit, and you can already see number 217 has been created. So I'm going to follow that link. And now we can see the pull request that's associated with the issue we just created. To see all the changes that were made, we can click on the Files Change tab. Here we can see the information about the edits to the Bioregistry JSON file that includes GraphSpace as the prefix, our contributor information, the description, example, homepage, name, pattern, and URL. All that we have to do now is have a discussion with the Bioregistry review team and decide when it's time to review following the guidelines set by the Bioregistry. Thanks so much for listening, and good luck with all of your prefix requests.